Hello, welcome back to the Spider's Web. Let's carry on with these, shall we? First of all, I want to finish off this fella. What I've done prior to this, I've actually gone round the claws on his feet with the Rhinox hide, so that's saved a job now, because all we really want to do is just quite simply, run over the tops of them with Screaming Skull. Oh yeah. And the same with this one. And finally the teeth. And that is that for this model. Almost. I'm not quite happy with the fur around the head and the neck, so what I'm going to be doing with that is using my large brush and the, not Runefang steel, Dawnstone, which is the one we used to mix for the paler colour in there. What we're going to do is take that and mix just that little bit onto the palette. I'm going to move these for a second, and a spot of the fang just to give it that slightly bluish cast. I mean just a spot, not much. And so I just want to give it that slightly bluish cast to take off the starkness of the grey. I keep going until you get it how you want it, but I say you want it firmly pale. That looks fine to me now. That, and this is going to be a dry brush, and all we're going to do is going over the fur on top of its head, just below the ears, just to make it stand out that little bit more. Give it just that touch more detail there. I hope you'll agree that looks much better now. I know the original model had bright red eyes, but I don't like that. I think that looks okay as is. Just a little bit more of that just down its back, and done. So that is the Shadow Mastiff. Why do I keep saying Mastiff? Mastiff. That's the Shadow Mastiff done. But I gave you the choice of which figure to paint. Well, the winner is, by a vast majority of 2 people, the Blade Master. Now, in Legend of Grist, we have this model, and this is the Drow Duelist. They are the same model, so I'm going to do these very similar, but I'm going to differentiate the two, even though all you need to do to find out which game they go in is turn this upside down. Excuse me. I'm going to make this one slightly different, but I wanted to get that one out so I can see how I did this one, so I can do the appropriate alterations to this. Okay, so let's get cracking, shall we? First of all, what we need to remember about the Drow that they have black skin and white hair. So That being said, let us get the white hair sorted out first of all before we do anything else. And for that we use our old friend Dawnstone, and we put a small amount of this covering the hair, and this is going to act as a base coat for the hair. We're going to be dry brushing over with the white later, so you don't need to worry about, I think I'm going off my trolley by doing white hair as grey. You need your base coat first. I put a bit too much on there, I think. Yep, so I'm just going to get my tissue and take some off. Quick dab, just so that we know that all the grey is going into the recesses rather than being on the surface where it's going to be filling in a little too much of the recesses, and we can't dry brush over properly because we need those recesses in there. So there we have it for his hair. Next we're going to be doing the metal parts. Now, isn't there something I do for metal? I'm going to tell you what it is anyway. It's tin bits. So I didn't do that for the ones in Legend of Drizzt. I just did them over with bolt gun metal and gold, but for this one I'm going to use the tin bits, and as you can see it's near enough all metal, it's all armour. In fact, I think I can basically go along and paint near enough everything here with the tin bits that's left. There's only really his face, and the back of his trousers. Even parts of, there's even armour on part of his trousers. There's armour on his trousers anyway. Let's give this tin bits a shake because it's not mixed in properly and it's a bit thick and loopy. That looks better. So we can just splat on the tin bits. Absolutely no delicacy involved in this. Sorry about the camera wobble then. Laddie's under the table and he decided he wanted to move. And when Laddie wants to move, Laddie will move no matter what's around him, who he's on. He'll just move. So there we are. I think I'm going to do his boots as like a leather rather than metal. Although it does look as though there's a metal design on there, but I'll cover that up with the tin bits. I don't know whether I went off camera there then. If I did, I'm sorry. Yeah, so what we've done is gone over everything that we know is going to be metal with tin bits. I haven't quite finished yet because there's the shoulder pads. There's these metal parts at the back here that are holding the main armour on. His like I say, it's just near enough everything. Bang some tin bits on. You can see the parts which aren't metal, so obviously the bits that aren't metal don't paint in tin bits, unless you accidentally touch those parts with the tin bits as you're painting the parts that you know are actually metal. There we are. So we have all of that completed for the base coats. The next thing we're going to be doing is highlighting. First off, we're going to be highlighting his face, and for that we're going to use exactly what we used to highlight the fur around the Shadow Mastiff's head. So it's the Dawnstone mixed in with a little of the fang. And so we're just using a small amount of the fang, we're not using any great quantities of it. What we could do, we could use a little bit more than we'd used for the Mastiff, because I'm not going to be doing much more in the line of highlighting for his face, because it's really needs to have like a very dark skin tone. I like doing these drow because they just remind me of the salamanders of Warhammer 40,000 that I have an army of, and they have black skin. And I'm just going to pick out some of the highlights there. Cheekbone. That's that. Obviously mixed way too much paint for what I need, but never mind. Shut up, laddie. Why do I get the feeling that somebody's outside? Okay, laddie, behave. And then I'll just go over his hands. There we are. And that, as I say, is just Dawnstone and the fang. Next we need the hair, and that is obviously going to be white scar. I'm saying it is obviously going to be white scar because, as you know, I only have Citadel paints. If however I was using a different make of paints, it wouldn't be, or if I had any different makes of paints, it would not be obvious, but yeah, well, you know what I mean. And there's his hair done. Doesn't it look a happy little soul? Right, so that's the white done. Next we're going to be using Runefang steel. Once I've given it a shake. We're using Runefang shield, flipping heck, Runefang steel. Okay, so it's just Runefang steel for the blade of the swords. And also for the chainmail. That is underneath his main armour. Not really much of that you can see from the front, it's all the back. What there is obviously a small amount you can see, and there you go. That's that one. Next we're going to be using another metallic colour. Obviously, as we're doing armour, we're going to be using Hashot's copper. And that really is to take away the shininess of that shining gold. I keep forgetting to shake these new ones, because they've got a if you don't shake them, they seem to have a milky substance over it. Must be the paint medium that's inside. Okay, so what we do is obviously just go downwards from top to bottom. Now I'm going to do all over the front armour with this. I'm going to do the shoulder pads, or the edges of the shoulder pads with this, not the actual shoulder pads. Because I'm going to be using a different colour altogether. As you can see there, it's looking a little different now. I will be going back over these leggings, or these trousers that he's wearing, in black. I just want to show the metal straps that go around it. So let's do that now, shall we? And just I'll just go along and just go in between the little metallic lines that's there. There we go. That was hard work. So I knew there was another bit I've missed. Okay, and next we're going to be using shining gold for our handles for his swords. It's quite a simple job, just shining gold I picked up. No, it's dwarf bronze this, but never mind, it will do. As long as it's a different colour to his armour. I thought when I started putting it on that it was a bit dark for shining gold. I was going to put this one on for the shoulder pads, but I'll put shining gold on there instead. Oh yeah, that's those done, and finally shining gold. There we are. I'm going to do this in a couple of different places just to pick out some detail. So first of all is going to be the shoulder pads, or the shoulder armour rather. There and there. I also want to pick out the edges of this here and this here. And there we are. It looks a little bit bright, but that's because we haven't quite finished yet. And the next thing that's going to be going on, using our large brush, is that wonderful stuff, Nuln Oil. So I'll just give that, I was going to say I'll give that a little bit of a shake. We did give it a little bit of a shake, but I didn't want to. And what we'll do now is delicately apply it. Once again, going in all the nooks and crannies. It's obvious with it being a wash. It needs to cover completely. Now once it's dried, we can then have a look to see if anywhere needs re-highlighting, but if not, it's finished. And that's going to bring out all the design in the armour. I'm going to just bang a touch more on the back there because it's not covered as well as I would have liked. But there we are. That is the Drow Blade Master. I'll try and get some of that wash away from his side of his face there, but there you are. That's two models down. Next to go will be what have we got left? We have that one, and that one. These are the last three of these single small figures. So let's have a Let's get them all in my hand. And the first one that drops is the one I do, and that is the Drow Priestess. And as it just so happens, in the Legend of Drist we have a Drow Priestess. However, this is a different figure. Well, it's the same figure, different name. This is Yvonne Bainra, the Matron Mother. Still the Drow Priestess, but it is also the figure for the Drow version of this character, which is Yochlol, the Handmaiden of Lolth. So I'm going to be doing this one again different, but it is the same model, and I've noticed I haven't yet finished this one, so I'm going to finish this one now. It's going to take another half an hour for me to finish this model, because I've seen there's massive bits and pieces that I really need to do. So yeah, done. She's holding a heart, and I forgot to do that. Right, so when I come back next, we're going to be doing the Drow Priestess. So until then, I'll say as usual, take care, God bless, and bye for now.